Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Joan Vassos, filled with anxiety, gives Chock Chapple ultimatum. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos has been spending a lot of time with her final rose winner and fiancé Chock Chapple. They spent the holidays at Joan's home in Maryland. Now they made their way to Kansas so she could spend some time in his world. While there, she went to social media to share that she was filled with anxiety. In fact, she said she was going to be giving Chock an ultimatum. What happened? Keep reading to find out all the details. Chock Chapple is giving Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos anxiety. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos went to Instagram to share a video detailing all the recent anxiety Chock Chapple has her feeling. While spending time in Wichita, Kansas, Joan discovered that Chock has a serious problem she was not aware of. Apparently, Chock is a sock hoarder. Joan showed a video of all the mismatched socks that Chock owns, which are all in tubs in his room. She went on to show the containers of socks and said they were all mismatched and it was giving her severe anxiety. Joan was starting to sort the socks by color and had them lined up on the dresser and even going down the hallway. There were stacks and stacks of socks. She captioned her video saying, "The tale of Chock's socks. Hashtag the Golden Bachelorette, hashtag Engadget Life." As Joan showed fans and talked about the many socks he owns, she said again how much anxiety it was causing her. She said she really thinks she needs to tell Chock that it's either her or the socks. Joan concluded the video saying she will let fans know what he says about her ultimatum. Later, she showed a photo of the bed piled high with matched-up socks. She captioned the picture saying, "Finished matching all 346 pairs of socks." Bachelor Nation loved the video and shared thoughts. Joan Vassos' video got a lot of attention from fellow Bachelor alums and also fans. Here are some of their hilarious comments. "I think Chock is the one who has been stealing the other sock from our dryers all of these years. Throw them out and start over? You are a good woman to match them. Where is Chock? Out buying more socks? I love this. You guys were meant for each other. Great funny personalities." It took Joan some time, but she got them all matched and organized. What do you think about her tale of Chock's socks? Joan Vassos had always prided herself on being a woman of composure. She had weathered the storms of life with grace, raising her children, navigating heartbreak, and entering her golden years with an openness to new experiences. But as she stood in the picturesque gardens of the Golden Bachelorette estate, the weight of the moment threatened to shatter her calm facade. Chock Chapple, the charismatic and ever-charming contestant who had stolen her heart from the first night, was now the source of her deepest anxiety. It had been weeks of whirlwind dates, heart-to-heart conversations, and stolen glances under moonlit skies. Chock had a way of making Joan feel alive, like she was the only woman in the world. Yet, as the finale loomed closer, doubts began to creep into Joan's mind. Despite their undeniable chemistry, Chock had been evasive about his future plans, while Joan had been candid about wanting a partner to share her life with. Someone ready for commitment. Chock's answers always danced around the topic, leaving her unsure of where he truly stood. The other men in the competition had made their intentions clear. Pascal Aguirre, with his poetic charm, had openly declared his love for Joan and had even hinted at relocating to be closer to her. Guy Gansard had been equally forthright, painting a vivid picture of a future together filled with laughter and adventure. But Chock remained an enigma. Joan couldn't shake the feeling that he was holding back. Was he afraid of commitment, or was there something deeper that he wasn't sharing? The questions gnawed at her, and the uncertainty became unbearable. For Joan, clarity was non-negotiable. She had spent too much of her life compromising her own happiness to fit into someone else's narrative. This time, she needed answers. The setting couldn't have been more idyllic for what she was about to do. The garden was bathed in golden sunlight, the scent of blooming roses filling the air. Chock arrived, looking effortlessly handsome in a tailored navy blazer and crisp white shirt. His smile, as always, was disarming. But Joan was determined not to let his charm distract her from the gravity of the conversation. "Chock," she began, her voice steady but tinged with emotion, "I need to talk to you about something important." He nodded, his expression softening. "Of course, Joan. What's on your mind?" Joan took a deep breath, summoning her courage. "These past weeks with you have been incredible. I've felt things I haven't felt in years, and I'm so grateful for the connection we've built. But as we get closer to the end, I need to know where you stand. I need to know if you're ready for the kind of commitment I'm looking for." Chock's smile faltered, and he looked away for a moment, as if gathering his thoughts. When he met her gaze again, his eyes were filled with a mixture of affection and hesitation. "Joan," he said, his voice gentle, "you mean so much to me. I've loved every moment we've spent together, and I've felt a connection with you that I've never felt before. But—" that single word hung in the air like a storm cloud. Joan's heart sank, but she pressed on. "But what, Chock? I need you to be honest with me." He sighed, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. "I'm scared, Joan. Scared of making promises I can't keep. My life has always been about spontaneity, about living in the moment. The idea of settling down, of committing to one person for the rest of my life, it's overwhelming." Joan felt a pang of disappointment, but she also appreciated his honesty. She reached out, taking his hand in hers. "I understand that, Chock, and I'm not asking for guarantees. Life is unpredictable, and no one can promise what the future holds. But I need to know that you're willing to try, that you're open to building a future with me." Chock looked into her eyes, and for a moment, Joan thought she saw a glimmer of resolve. But then he pulled his hand away, his expression conflicted. "I don't know if I can give you that, Joan," he admitted. "And it's not because I don't care about you. I do deeply, but I don't know if I'm ready to give up the life I've been living." Joan's chest tightened. She had hoped for a different answer, but at least now she knew where he stood. She squared her shoulders, her resolve strengthening. "Chock," she said firmly, "I care about you too. But I've come too far and fought too hard to settle for anything less than what I deserve. If you can't see a future with me, then I need to know now. Because I can't keep investing my heart in someone who isn't willing to meet me halfway." Chock's eyes widened, and he seemed taken aback by her ultimatum. He opened his mouth to respond but hesitated, as if unsure of what to say. The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken emotions. Joan felt a lump rise in her throat, but she refused to let it overwhelm her. She had given Chock the opportunity to step up, and now the ball was in his court. I need some time to think," he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. Joan nodded, though her heart ached. "Take the time you need, Chock. But please, don't leave me waiting too long. I deserve clarity, and so do you." With that, she turned and walked away, her head held high. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had been honest about her needs, and now it was up to Chock to decide if he was ready to rise to the occasion. Back at the estate, Joan found solace in the company of the other women who had become her confidants throughout this journey. They listened as she poured out her heart, offering words of encouragement and support. "You did the right thing," Nancy Hulkower said, her tone firm. "You're not asking for too much, Joan. You're asking for what you deserve." Pascal Abgui, who had overheard part of the conversation, approached Joan later that evening. "I hope you know, Joan," he said softly, "that there are men here who would move mountains to be with you. Men who wouldn't hesitate to commit." His words warmed Joan's heart, but they also added to her confusion. She had felt a connection with Pascal, but her heart had been so focused on Chock that she hadn't fully explored it. Now she wondered if she had been too quick to close herself off to other possibilities. As the days passed, Joan found herself reflecting deeply on what she truly wanted in a partner. She realized that while chemistry and attraction were important, they weren't enough on their own. She needed someone who shared her values, someone who was willing to build a life with her. When the time came for the next rose ceremony, Joan felt a mix of anticipation and trepidation. She knew that Chock's decision could change everything. But no matter what happened, she was proud of herself for standing firm in her convictions. As she stood on the rose-draped stage, the remaining contestants lined up before her. Joan took a deep breath. Her journey on the Golden Bachelorette had been filled with highs and lows, but through it all, she had stayed true to herself.